Poachers are about to engage in unlawful nighttime hunting of wild animals somewhere in a remote mountain forest when a massive asteroid crashes onto the surrounding area. As they cautiously approach the enigmatic lights, this prompts the people to go check the object right away. However, they are instantly taken aback by the sight of several alien dogs emerging from the enormous crater. When the monsters spot the humans, they yell angrily at the poachers, sending the people fleeing in desperation in the other direction as the monsters closing in on them. The extraterrestrial canines swiftly defeat one of the poachers and consume the man in the process, demonstrating that humans are obviously too slow to flee from them. The only survivor is able to eventually flee the forest because he gets his gun ready to kill the attackers right away, but he is unable to find the aliens anywhere. The human is knocked away like a flying ragdoll by a huge creature that slowly approaches him from behind just as the poacher believes he is finally secure. Fortunately, a flying aircraft lands inside the surrounding woodland before the alien monster can complete the kill, causing it to flee. It soon becomes apparent that a humanoid extraterrestrial has also landed on Earth when it gently spreads its tentacles before shrieking wildly up at the sky. A young man named Ray occasionally shows up in a nearby community after accepting a job offer to work as a forest ranger in the mountains. But after the guy finally meets the chief in the small village, Ray is promptly given the job of apprentice to Sean, a second ranger who is notorious for having a terrible temper, following the cold-blooded murder of his son by the poachers. The old ranger has been restless ever since the incident because of this, and he keeps trying must find the offenders in order to exact revenge. Remarkably, the man ultimately finds several bloodstains in the snow, which eventually directs the ranger to an area where wolves' remains, most likely also slaughtered by the poachers, are found. Sean makes the decision to follow the remaining tracks and soon locates a man seated behind some downed tree trunks. To his astonishment, the poacher seems to have been murdered like the wolves. The man soon discovers a second body on the ground, but this time the poacher seems to be still living, so he chooses to keep moving further since he has no other option. This infuriates Sean, who starts violently beating the criminal in an attempt to rouse up the poacher and demanding to know where their commander is. But while the aliens and humans are wandering through the forest together, a fierce fight is about to start, and the man is unaware that he is in grave danger. Ray has also entered the forest at this point, and while he searches for his new companion, he spots a spectral form in the distance that swiftly vanishes behind the trees. Unexpectedly, the young man is too innocent to be scared by the apparent danger and ultimately chooses to go to the old ranger's house, where he intends to unpack his belongings. But the old ranger immediately cuts Ray off from behind and aims the rifle straight at the man's head. Fortunately, Ray is able to present the identification fast away to save his life, but not before spotting another person lying on the ground inside the yards and rushing to assist the wounded man. To his amazement, Sean almost chokes the poacher unconscious as he pushes him to divulge the whereabouts of their boss and promptly dumps a pail of water in his face. Ray is forced to shove the elderly ranger away from the wounded poacher as a result, but the criminal seizes the opportunity and hurls the young man over Sean before firing at the crowd and detonating himself with the broken rifle. After realizing that the criminal has died in the explosion, Sean makes the decision to go after the other poachers by himself and orders the young man to leave the mountains right away. Ray is forced to flee the area immediately as a result, but before he can do so, he notices two enormous craters on the ground that were obviously not made by people. At the same time, Fawn, the poacher's commander, and his henchmen were able to track down a female black bear and kill its young. What the folks fail to realize, though, is that the old ranger has been alerted by their gunfire and is racing to their position right away, eliminating the local crooks in the process. One of the poachers was ultimately aroused by this, and he went to investigate the disturbance, but the ranger attacked him from within the snow and knocked him out right away. Shortly after, Sean finds the other offenders and is ready to murder the man who killed his child. What he fails to comprehend is that someone hiding among the trees has already noticed him and swiftly dispatches the ranger. This ultimately enables the poachers to apprehend the main character when they immediately bring the elderly man to their commander. However, Fong only seemed to be concerned with his younger brother Don, who was in charge of apprehending the ranger. Unexpectedly, Sean is not giving up on gaining revenge. He jumps up and tries to murder Fong immediately, but the criminals knock him to the ground as the opponents beat him mercilessly. Fortunately, Ray interrupts the crowd just as Fong is ready to murder the main character and orders the criminals to release the ranger right away. The enemy, however, do not appear to be alarmed by the man's remarks as Don carefully moves forward the ranger and challenges him to fire the rifle before swiftly removing the weapon and kidnapping the man. Unexpectedly, one of the alien monsters interrupts the humans just as they are about to slaughter the rangers, but Don chooses to take the initiative and makes an attempt to approach the creature by himself. This ultimately enables the man to come into contact with the hideous thing, but the creature swiftly assaults the man and knocks him to the ground. When the people notice this, they immediately start shooting at the alien, and Fong tries to save his seriously wounded brother. But as they get ready to fight for their life, the group quickly discovers that they are encircled by even more of the flesh-eating animals. The creatures quickly start assaulting everyone from all directions, and despite the people's valiant attempts to defend themselves, the invaders keep destroying humans like insects. As the poachers are being annihilated by the ferocious creatures and poisoned by their blood, which also manage to come into contact with the elderly ranger, this ultimately enables Ray to go save his companion. Fortunately, the monster is swiftly stopped by many tentacles and brutally torn apart by an extraterrestrial humanoid moments before the enemies kill the civilians. The tentacle monster's hideous appearance astounds the populace, and the other animals start assaulting the alien as well. When the leader of the alien hounds arrives at the battlefield and immediately attacks the alien humanoid, sending the creature flying across the forest with incredible force, things get much worse. As a result, they fall to the ground, and the alien hound stabs the adversary in the chest. When Don spots this, he swiftly shoots the monster in the head, but the opponent simply stabs him as he is being flung across the field, sending the other humans flying backwards as well. This gives the poachers a chance to run to their fallen comrades, while the gang leader cries out in pain at the sight of his brother's lifeless body, giving the rangers time to escape. When his companion brings him a heated blade to cauterize the wounds, the old guy has no alternative but to take a sip of wine to numb his pain. The ranger then puts the blistering object onto his arm, causing him to scream in misery. Despite their success in escaping the jungle, the poachers are unable to help their wounded comrades, even the leader's own brother. Fong's desire for vengeance drives him to tell his subordinate, Tiger, to bring him the dynamites from their hiding spot so they can go and destroy all the monsters, despite the fact that the people are aware that they have little chance of beating the aliens. In an attempt to get to their base, the poacher instantly runs away from the mountains, but he soon realizes that something is wrong because the alien dogs are right behind him. The human is lucky to avoid being discovered by the monsters since he begins to pursue them. The aliens quickly approached a nearby factory where construction workers were dumping building supplies onto the ground. As the flesh-eating monsters swiftly attack and take over the entire building, the humans quickly discover that something is hiding in the shadows. However, the creatures are unaware that Tiger has also been watching the entire affair. While Sean has finally recovered from his wounds and understands that he survived the aliens' poisons after cauterizing his arm, the populace is uncertain on what to do next because they are clearly no match for the ferocious animals. As they finally enter the building, the rangers are forced to approach it cautiously after their conversation is abruptly cut off by a loud noise coming from the shed. As the villagers gradually approach the monster and discover that it is seriously injured from its prior battle, it turns out that the alien hunter has unexpectedly chosen to seek refuge inside the structure. Ray believes that they should aid the alien by cauterizing its wounds as well, but Sean is clearly frightened by the imposing monster, and everyone immediately flees the building and locks the creature within the shed. Eventually, the humans return to the building while cautiously approaching the extraterrestrial and demonstrating to it that they are harmless. As a result, everyone screams simultaneously as Sean uses the searing blade and presses the metal on the enormous creature. Remarkably, this eliminates the poison in a short amount of time, enabling the extraterrestrial hunter to get to his feet while it moves slowly toward the humans and pushes them into a corner. But when the extraterrestrial finally places its enormous arm on Ray and starts sending a sequence of images through the man's head, it becomes clear that all it is attempting to do is communicate with the Rangers. It soon becomes clear that the alien is a member of a race of cosmic hunters who brought it here to eliminate the insectoids, who are flesh-eating monsters, while also recovering a potent stone they had stolen. When the humans learn that the alien hunter is truly on their side, a series of dynamites are tossed inside the building, resulting in a massive explosion, before they can continue their talk. Fortunately, Sean recovers from the fatal attack in the end, but he soon learns that the poachers have come to exact revenge on the forest rangers. Sean is forced to fight the attackers alone, but he is obviously outnumbered by the ruthless criminals, who attempt to attack the man in every way and almost kill the ranger in the process. But in the end, Sean prevails because he uses the objects that are close by to strike down his adversaries while ferociously knocking out the crooks. When Fong notices this, he starts to go the opposite direction, but Sean does not intend to let the man get away, and they eventually return to the forest. The old ranger is unwilling to allow the enemy to escape, but because of his injuries from the explosion, he is unable to keep up and ultimately loses sight of the poacher. This enables Fong to swiftly attack the ranger, sending them both rolling down the slopes. However, Sean soon regains his equilibrium and throws the opponent to the ground as he attempts to kill the man who killed his kid. Sean is able to kick the poacher away just in time, but the assailant soon succeeds in retaliating and starts choking the ranger to death. Unfortunately, this also allows the adversary another opportunity to leave the area, and Sean is upset that he has not exacted revenge yet. Fortunately, Ray is able to recover from the previous explosion in time to get outdoors and start following the footsteps into the forest before the ranger may bleed to death on the ice ground. This ultimately brings the young man to his mentor. He immediately rushes to the elderly ranger but quickly discovers that Sean has suffered serious injuries in the battle. Ray has no choice but to carry the elderly man on his back as he attempts to return to the neighboring city, finally coming to rest in front of the deserted factory that is populated by extraterrestrial dogs. Meanwhile, after fleeing from the elderly ranger, Fong has found his lieutenant. However, the guy soon finds out from his friend where the alien is and chooses to murder the creatures in retaliation for his brother's passing. Conversely, Sean has finally regained consciousness inside the factory, but the ranger is only interested in getting revenge on the guy who killed his son, not in escaping their current situation. But since the elderly ranger would probably die too, Ray will not let his buddy carry on with this futile activity. The young man eventually succeeds in persuading his mentor to relinquish his need for vengeance, but the alien insectoids outside abruptly cut them off as they attempt to pursue the humans like prey. Unexpectedly, the poachers have also entered the building and swiftly used their bombs to assault the adversaries, which prompts the monsters to immediately start pursuing the humans. As they attempt to slow down the beast with their dynamites, the criminals are forced to run in the opposite way, but the people are unable to harm the monster with the bombs. The poachers are quickly driven to the second floor as the monster slowly makes its way toward them from the darkness. It finally catches hold of the lieutenant and pulls him toward the walls to be eaten. Fong ultimately chooses to shoot his friend's dynamites and blow up the alien after realizing there is no way to save his colleague who is being torn apart by the creature. The rangers are also attempting to flee the factory at this time, and they eventually reach the exit, but they are soon compelled to shelter below the covers and away from the monster that is prowling the area. The humans are fortunate enough to find a car and hastily run inside to start it, but the beast immediately recognizes the humans and rushes in their direction. As Sean is able to knock the thing off in time, Ray swiftly flees inside the car and the monster leaps onto the victims. But the alien will not let the humans get away. It eventually reaches the second story before leaping back onto the car and attempting to bite the rangers from the ceiling. Fortunately, Ray quickly applies the brakes before the creature can enter the car, sending the alien hound flying across the field. The creature recovers almost instantly. The rangers have no choice but to speed up the truck as the enemy rushes in their direction, allowing the people to collide with the extraterrestrial before ramming the creature against the wall. Occasionally after the horrific collision, when everyone has finally managed to regain consciousness, Sean realizes right away that his partner has suffered serious injuries. As a result, the elderly ranger is compelled to tend to the man's injuries immediately before carrying his companion on his back and traveling to the closest town for assistance. But they are unaware that the extraterrestrial hunter has also managed to restore consciousness from the earlier conflict. While the monster roars ferociously towards the human, Fong is still attempting to find the final alien, but is swiftly surprised by the creature from behind. The poacher appears to be unfazed by the creature, as he intends to kill the insectoid even if it means losing his own life. As a result, the alien eventually charges at the man in a rage and pushes him in the direction of the gasoline barrels. However, Fong is able to blow up the entire plant in front of the fleeing rangers, causing a massive explosion before the monster can finish killing the guy. Unfortunately, as the alien insectoid roars loudly and rushes straight at the humans, the main character soon discovers that it has somehow survived the enormous explosion. Fortunately, the alien hunter swiftly tackles the furious monster away just before it kills the victims, and the two creatures start fighting while simultaneously causing enormous damage. However, the alien hunter recovers instantly as it starts shooting its tentacles at the attacker as well, demonstrating that the insectoid is obviously more strong as it swiftly obtains the upper hand while penetrating the opponent directly in the chest. The insectoid swiftly knocks the alien hunter to the ground as well, allowing the alien to paralyze it while repeatedly slicing the enemy's body and making the creature scream in agony. The main character's gunshots break up their battle, allowing the alien hunter to instantly retaliate and repeatedly stab the enemy in the head. The alien hunter swiftly leaps onto the neighboring telephone pole and strikes the opponent with incredible force, while the insectoid suffers serious injuries as a result. The alien hunter effortlessly counters the opponent, then seizes the monster's jaws and tears the energy stone from its body, but the insectoid is unflinching and attempts a desperate attack. Ray has long since ceased breathing, so their success comes at a heavy cost. Nevertheless, the alien hunter ultimately chooses to attach its enormous arm to the young man while channeling its energy toward the ranger. The guy is eventually able to open his eyes once more as a result, and the alien hunter gradually floats in the direction of its enormous spaceship before giving the humans the energy stone as a thank you for aiding it in destroying the hideous insectoids. The rangers have occasionally recovered from their wounds and are still protecting the forest from unauthorized poachers, but they decided to conceal the entire episode from the authorities. Though there are still many unanswered questions from their brief encounter, the people start to question whether the aliens will ever return to their planet. What they fail to realize, though, is that the mysterious stone they received is already sending signals to other civilizations. We have finished our movie review. What are your thoughts on this film, then? Tell me in the comments section below. Additionally, if you enjoy my videos, please hit the like and subscribe buttons for more. I will see you all again soon.